Hello and welcome to BusyWorksBeats.com. Today I want to show you 4 ways to start a verse. So firstly, verses are not random. It's a story, it's a message. Always remember, your verse is not something random. It has a purpose in a song. Just like a hook is to get people's attention and to help people remember your song title, the verse is there to tell a story. And I'll get into what, ways you can do that. So that's the first thing, is just realizing that verses are not random. Unless you're freestyling, verses are not random. Even freestyles have some kind of undertone theme. So the second thing about your verse, when you're starting your verse, is that you want to use pattern interrupt. I'm sure you remember the song. Hold up, wait a minute. Y'all thought I was finished? When I bought the Aston Martin, y'all thought it was rented? So hold up, wait a minute is a complete pattern interrupt. He's actually telling you to hold on, wait a minute. They even could have paused the beat or muted the beat, and it would have been even more dramatic. Hold up, wait a minute. Y'all thought I was finished? And then and not only that, but he increased his energy level. So that's pattern interrupt. So he went from this kind of mellow energy to a super contrast energy, super energetic, to where he's almost yelling. And there's a meme about Meek Mill to where they're like, I can hear Meek Mill. I'm in Africa right now, but I can hear him in Philadelphia. So it's like, it's always a meme around it. And that's because he uses pattern interrupt. How many rappers do you know are yelling in the microphone? For one thing, it's hard enough to yell. For two, it's hard enough to sustain a yell. And three, it might have damage to your vocals over time. So he was using pattern interrupt, doing something that rappers didn't really do a lot, which is yell into the microphone. And also tell you to hold on, wait a minute. So he's telling you to stop what you're doing and listen. So that's called pattern interrupt. It's a technique used in psychology, all the time. So that's the second way to start a verse, pattern interrupt. So again, to recap real quick, the first way, and I'll go through my example here. The first way is to realize that verses aren't random. It's a story, it's a message. The second thing you need to realize is that you need to use more pattern interrupts. Do things that the status quo do not do. Okay, that's the point of it. The third one is to build a scene. So I'll use my example here. Let me go back to the beginning. So this is the hook area, and then you'll hear the verse around where we at. I think the verse starts right here. If you're looking to the lyrics to the right. So before I get into this, the goal is to build a scene. The verse is to tell a story, to build a scene. So if you're ever confused, always remember that verses, raps, stories, lyrics, whatever, it's a story. So you need to build a scene. Just like when you open any, standard cliche book, it says once upon a time. They're building a scene. Once upon a time in a distant land in the jungles of Africa. They're building the scenario, they're building the canvas for everything else. So let me get into this. This song was about heartbreak. I can break down the hook in a later video. I want you to focus on the verse, however. So when the verse kicks up, I'll point out some things. So again, before we begin, because this is a lot to take in, you want to build the scene, okay? And fourthly, you want to bond with your listener. To bond with your listener, you have to use certain words. You have to show them that you can relate to their story. You have to prove it through your stories and experiences. And that's why your verse is a storyline. The more you think about it as a story, the more easy it's going to become. Even if it's a fictitious story, you can still build the scenery. You can build the plot. Slick Rick did it a lot. Nas did it. Rick Ross did it. Countless. 50 Cent did it. Eminem did it. Okay? It's storytelling. Used to think that you were beautiful. It's just a breakup or a funeral. You know how many times I died inside. It felt like sipping on some cyanide. Used to think that you were beautiful. It's just a breakup or a funeral. You know how many times I died inside. It felt like sipping on some cyanide. I see the worst. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Hurt people. Not the verse yet. That's because hurt people hurt people. You know how many times I died inside. It felt like sipping on some cyanide. Here's the verse. Who else ever had their heart broken? Crying real tears like an ocean, yeah. Do you ever feel alone? Lights on but ain't nobody home, yeah. I see your pictures on my phone. Strikes a bone but my heart's sewn up. Have you ever felt alone? Lights on but ain't nobody home. So we can break down this verse into how much meaning it has. Remember that in the other video, 6 ways to be a better rapper, I told you not to waste words. Only use words that tell the story or are useful. Filler words are not needed unless it's there to fill a gap. Eminem uses filler words all the time. Whenever you hear a rapper curse, chances are it's because they're trying to fill a syllable. So that's why you hear the N word. It's a 2-syllable word. That's why you heard Eminem use, F a lot because it's a 1-syllable rhyme. Then mother effer, mother effer, it's a 4-syllable word. Okay, so they're using those curse words to fill in gaps of syllables. So if anything, you're going to hear them curse to fill in gaps. But you want to keep stuff useful. So for example, the verse starts out, again, remember, we're bonding with the listener. So it says, who else ever had their heart broken? And probably a majority of everybody listening had their heart broken at some time from somebody you thought you were going to spend the rest of your life with, but it didn't turn out that way. So you had your heart broken. Okay. And now I'm describing having your heart broken, crying real tears. Okay. Like real tears from your soul, like an ocean. So there's so many tears, it could fill up your room and fill up an ocean. Okay. That's a lot of pain and suffering. And then I asked them the question again, do you ever feel alone? So you had your heart broken, you're crying your soul out, you're dehydrated in the body. And do you ever feel alone? Okay. I'm sure the majority of the people who are listening to the story felt alone. And then I used a cliche, lights on, but ain't nobody home. So that's a cliche. And we talked about that in our live stream when we were writing this song. You want to start using cliches. Lil Wayne uses it all the time. Okay. That's because cliches are a very common thing. It's an idiom. It's something that people use on a daily basis. Okay. And a lot of people are familiar with it. So, we can dig into the meaning of the verse, but the point is you want to bond with your listener. So there are techniques to bonding with your listener, showing them that you have real experience of the story. Okay, so those are the 4 tips. Again, I'll go through them real quick. 4 ways to start a verse. Remember that verses are not random. They're stories or a way to convey a message of some sort. The second thing is that you want to use pattern interrupt, just like Meek Mill. Hold up, wait a minute. Y'all thought I was finished? I can't even yell. Y'all thought I was finished? When I bought the Aston Martin, y'all thought it was ready? So it's like pattern interrupt. Not only is he saying, hold up, wait a minute, he's screaming it. Okay. Step 3 is to build a scene for your verse. So I said, whoever else had the heart broken, that's building the canvas of emotion, which is heartbreak. Okay. And then you start describing heartbreak. And then you ask them another question so they can dig into their memory bank and pull out all these experiences to tie to your lyric. Okay. That's building the scene, building the canvas in the brain. And fourthly, you want to bond with your listener. And this is what you tell your stories, how you dealt with the same pain, how you dealt with the same exact things, and, things that you have in common with your listener. So there's so much to songwriting. I want to make you a better songwriter. I want to make you a better rapper. I want to make you a better artist. I want to make you a better producer. To do that, I have to show you what makes stuff special. So again, we go over all this stuff right at busyworksbeats.com. There's such a deeper science to it. It's not random. These top acts like Drake have tons of songwriters. I think on Scorpion, they said he had 79 songwriters. Okay, 79 songwriters. Not saying that Drake can't hold his own, but songwriting is very important. Okay, so you can learn it right at busyworksbeats.com. We're going to have tons of videos for free right here on YouTube. Thanks for watching. It's busyworksbeats.com.